All right, so welcome to the second part of the installment for our discussion on the classical politics administration dichotomy. So we will continue where I ended, and I think that is on the part of a case study, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we ended here on the local disaster governance case analysis. Okay, you have to take note again, and let me re-emphasize that in terms of politics, we are dealing with the decision-making process, whereas administration is actually grounded on the execution of the decisions made by politics. Okay, so in this case, okay, let's assume that a municipality is actually a disaster prone location. So taon-taon na lamang sila ay nakararanas ng matitinding bagyo, malalakas at matataas sa pagbaha, okay? And because of this, the local government unit through its sangguniang bayan, which we all know, sila yung tagagawa ng batas, no? In the local terms, ordinansa, ay gumawa ng ordinansa or nagpasa ng ordinansa that allocates now a specific fund for evacuation center. So in that case, yung political side niya is nakapag-decide sila. So they made a decision to allocate, okay, the resources, the funds, the pera para magpatayo ng evacuation center. So, sino ngayon ang mag-i-implement niyan given na may budget na? Of course, ang main implementer dyan ay ang MDRRMO or the Municipal Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office. Ano ang role nila? They will now identify saang barangay ipatatayo ang mga evacuation centers na ito. And then, bubuo sila or gagawa sila ng mga patakaran or protocol sa kung paano ang sistema ng evacuation center. Bakit kailangan gumawa ng protocol? You have to take note na hindi lahat ng barangay ay mabibigyan ng evacuation center. So dito, nagkakaroon tayo ng prioritization. And in terms of prioritization, of course, may mabibigyan, may hindi. Okay? So administration tells us who will be prioritized. Sino ang unang mabibigyan? Okay? And this is now yung tinatawag ko noon pa na distributive nature of politics and administration. Hindi lahat mabibigyan. At for every person or every family or every barangay na mabibigyan, may nawawalan as well. Okay? So, in this case, hindi po purely administrative yung role ng MDRRMO. Meron din siyang political side. 'Di ba? Kasi syempre pipili sila. They have to make a decision. It's gonna be a judgment call for them kung sinong barangay ang mabibigyan. And doon pumapasok yung sinasabi na we cannot please everybody. Kasi kahit gaano kaganda ang iyong polisiya, in this case, para maging ligtas ang mga tao, hindi pwedeng lahat ay mabigyan. Number one, limitado ang resources ng pamahalaan. So dito, titimbangin natin sino ba talaga ang pinaka nangangailangan ng ating evacuation center. So the MDRRMO shall identify suitable sites. They have to develop operational protocols and even conduct evacuation drills. At first, these are like, administrative in nature. Pero, hindi po siya technically pure implementation. Okay? So dito makikita natin na ang hirap paghiwalayin ng politika at ng administration, particularly sa part ng MDRRMO. So even inside what looks like administration, no, kalahati ng kanilang mga gampanin ay, okay, there is a political residue that remains. So this is our first hint, my dear class, that the line Wilson drew, while conceptually clean, it gets blurry the moment you zoom in to the real operational detail. Kustos tumat jay imbaga ni Woodrow Wilson, di ba? Tinagdumaan iti politics and administration. Ngimno bubusisain natin ng mas maigi, no? If we're going to zoom in, doon po natin makikita na parang mahirap talagang paghiwalayin ang administration at ang politics. Okay, now, bigyan ko pa kayo ng other example, and this is very relevant sa inyo bilang mga mag-aaral. Aside from you are considered a scholar ng bayan, okay, scholar kayo ng bayan dahil nga libre ang inyong pag-aaral sa ilalim ng Universal Access to Free and Quality Higher Education Act. Ah, yung iba sa inyo ay nag-e-enjoy din sa benepisyo ng mga educational assistance at scholarship grants. Okay. So in this case, si Mayor ay nag-propose na palawigin pa ang sakop ng kanilang mga scholarship grants. Ibig sabihin, dadagdagan nila ang kanilang mga grantees. Umadupay dagitay beneficiaries. Okay? So nagpatupad na sila. Okay, sa pamamagitan ng approval ng sangguniang panglungsod. O ngayon, city government to for example. Okay. Ngayon, sa scholarship office, gagawa sila ngayon ng okay, sino ang qualified, sino ang hindi. Open to all ba para equitable? Yeah, again, narinig nyo, di ba? Yun yung say, equitable, nagijay by deserving at the same time nangangatulaang iti na alada? Or we should implement the principle of fairness. Regardless no ada 75 mo, basta si kakat residente iti daytoy nga ili maikang kati scholarship. Paano ngayon? Paano natin ngayon i-distribute ito? So the question here is, who decides who deserves assistance? 'Di ba? So dito, yung scholarship committee, the selection committee is also exercising political attributes because they are the ones who are deciding kung sino ba talaga ang makakakuha ng scholarship or hindi. Tama. Let me cite the case of La Union, for example. Sa La Union, meron sila nung tinatawag na La Union Educational Assistance and Scholarship Program. Yung LU EASP. Okay? Ito ay sa provincial government. Sa Balipay, dayjay is educational assistance kay itutud iti first district of La Union through the office of Congressman Paulo Ortega, at iba naman po yung doon sa second district which is sa office naman ni Dante Garcia. Mas familiar kasi ako sa La Union because I am from La Union. So allow me to use these as examples. Okay? Magkakaiba yung qualification at eligibility rules ng tatlong scholarship guarantors and educational assistance providers. Okay? So dito, okay, there is a political decision even if the implementers fall under administration. Okay? So dito sasabihin magkano ba ang ilalaang budget para sa educational support. So the scholarship office, on the other hand, while they are designing the eligibility rules, okay, they must actually identify who qualifies based on what? Ano ba yung mga basihan? Income threshold ba? So, ibig sabihin, yung mga indigent students ba? By the way, it's not indigent, it should be indigent, no? So please be careful and of course observe proper pronunciation, okay? Again ha, hindi po siya indigent but rather indigent. Okay, pakinggan niyo to. Indigent.
Indigent.
So no apang kayo di barangay yo, dumadawat kayo iti certificate of indigency, hindi siya indigency. Okay? Wait lang. Patunayan natin.
We are looking at how to pronounce these weird and more confusing vocabulary and terms too many people mispronounce. Stay tuned to the channel, loads to learn here. Indigency, stress on the
Indigency.
first syllable here.
Okay? Not indigency, but indigency. Alright, sir? Sir, mga lakman, it is certificate of indigency. Okay? So again, dito, ano nga ba yung qualifications? Income ba? Academic standing ba? Ano yung mga documentation? So long as enrolled ka, nabat ng kawuno saan, pasado kawuno saan? So, in general perspective, administrative, kung titignan mo yung ginagawa ng scholarship committee, because this is technically rule designing. But if you try to ask yourself, yung pagde-decide ba kung sino ang deserving makakuha ng assistance, is that a neutral technical exercise? Or in its essence, does it fall under value-laden judgment? O, di ba? Dita duma, ikanta yun, takakaasida, amok da kita, ninanang na, awan trabaho, di tatang na kat, kasi kastoy. O, di kita kat marigrigat ka pamilya da kita, iso ikanta yun. Kasta, iti makunada. So, practically, if we try to set, no, yung income cut-off, yung GWA or General Weighted Average, para bigyan ng merit at makatanggap ng educational assistance, these are in its all essence value judgment about fairness and deservingness. So again, we find political reasoning hiding inside what was supposed to be purely administrative during the process of selecting sino ba talaga ang deserving makakuha ng scholarship. Okay? In this portion, okay, nakita na natin kung gaano medyo kahirap i-define at i-distinguish ang politics even sa administrative reasoning. And we all know that patronage corrode institutions. When you say corrode, ginuguho niya, sinisira niya ang institution. And unfortunately, and this is a very sad reality, competence, yung competence is actually taking back, no, is taken back, no, not taken back, taken away by this loyalty. So, ano yung solution na iprinopose ni Woodrow Wilson? His solution is actually what we call as insulation. Okay? Ano po yung insulation? Okay? The idea is to reduce as much as is structurally possible the exposure of the administrative machinery to a partisan political pressure. Ibig sabihin yan, dapat sumina iti politics ayan ti administration. Dayta iti solution na tano makisayan dayta makunkuna tayo a patronage politics. No? So that, according to him, professional administration can function on its own terms, ultimately producing efficient government. So in this case, nagkaroon na ng tinatawag nating professionalization. Okay? And I want you to sit with the word Wilson chose here, because this is not just, a word he just said or uttered himself. Yung word na insulation. Now, if you try to find the meaning of the word insulation in the dictionary, anyati kaya't na nga sa unda jay. Okay? If you try to look at the dictionary, di ko na natuloy any material used to slow or block the transfer of heat, sound, or electricity. So practically, we should not take this literally, but figuratively. Therefore, when you say insulation, it blocks a certain pressure. Di ba? Ano ba yung pressure kasi na yun? Yung pressure na yun galing sa politika. Okay? Imagine an electrical wiring. Okay? Yung wire needs an insulating layer precisely para hindi po siya mag-cause ng dangerous shock at hindi tayo makuryente. Ganon din, kailangan may harang between the political side and the administrative side so as not to achieve yung volatile current of partisan politics. So it needs to be insulated away from the day-to-day operations of the bureaucracy so that it will not damage the entire system. So the single idea, yung insulation, became now the conceptual seed for everything that follows in American civil service reform and eventually dito sa Pilipinas. In short, para mabawasan yung partisan pressure, kailangang bawasan or tanggalin yung ah yung ah, yung exposure, no, ng politika at ng administration. So we have to insulate that. Okay? So dito nag-umpisa na tignan ang administration as science. Ano ba yung science ulit, no? Para mas malinaw, bakit kino-consider na science ang administration? Practically, when you say science, it is the systematic pursuit of knowledge about the physical and the social world, relying now on the empirical evidence, observation, and experimentation. So dito, administration should be studied systematically. Paano? We have to start observing ano ba kasi talaga ang nangyayari, no? So Wilson made another proposal that actually became a foundational to our entire discipline. Okay? So we have to see administration as a science to be studied. Ito ay supposedly maging logi, 'di ba? Logi kasi 'di ba yung ah ah administrationology, 'di ba? Parang a study of administration, no? So he lays out something close to a method. Observe, no? Obserbahan natin paano nga ba kumikilos ang administration. And then you start comparing. Comparison is a very good way to test whether or not we are working, we are functioning, or we are doing things effectively or efficiently. So long as comparing is done to conduct and understand a certain phenomenon, walang mali or masama sa pagko-compare. Okay? Para saan ba kasi yung comparison na yan? Para ma-improve natin yung practice. Baka mamaya kasi si LGU1 ay hindi nagfa-function compared kay LGU2 kasi si LGU2 may mas magandang practice. Dito, hindi masama ang pangongopya. If ang kokopyahin mo is a good practice in order for you to improve your work, then why not? Walang masama doon. Okay? And later on, he also proposed to professionalize the field. Okay? So this was actually a radical movement. Ano po ang radical? Okay? Parang hindi siya common, okay? Parang parang you depart from the norm. Hindi ito yung nakagisnan natin, parang gano'n. So, bago itong na-introduce sa kanila, why do we need to professionalize kung kunada iti? Yan, okay? So, this time, okay, running a government office should not be governed primarily by a common sense, 'di ba? Or even tradition or political instinct. When you run a government, when you govern a government, it should be by evidence, by systematic study, okay? The same epistemic standards we would apply to any other serious field of scientific inquiry. So for example, psychology, medicine, di ba? We follow a certain procedure. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-opera ng taong may sakit sa puso nang hindi ka man lang huhugas, nag-i-sterilize, pagsuot ng bathrobe, ay ng medical scrub, etc. Ganon din sa administration. So this moment administration stops being treated as a mere clerical housekeeping per se, and it started to become now a legitimate academic and professional discipline. Kaya tayo nagkaroon ng bachelor's degree in public administration, kaya nagkaroon ng master's degree in public administration, and even may doctorate degree tayo because it is not just a subject in political science, in policy science, but this is already a separate discipline that we are studying today. Now, if we try to compare yung kay Wilson, gamitin natin yung framework ni Wilson and compare it with other countries' political system and administrative system. Okay, si Prussia, si France, at yung administrative system ng United States. Anong makikita natin? Okay, so studying which administrative techniques produce better governance outcomes doon sa tatlo. Okay, so yung kay Wilson kasi, he attached an important caveat to this comparative exercise. Okay? So, when you try to borrow the administrative technique, yes, pwede, pero wag mong kuhanin yung political system nila. Ano ba kasi yung political system ng Amerika? Sige nga. What is the political system of America? Back then, it is a presidential form. It's a federal republic and it is a constitutional federal republic. Okay? So, yan yung base natin. How about Prussia? Ano yung sa Prussia? Okay? They are democratic monarchy. Okay? How about si France? Ano naman yung kay France? They are a unitary state with semi-presidential system. So, kakaiba sila ng political system and yet they are the same in administrative technique. Ibig sabihin yan, pwede para tayong maging efficient in the government without actually copying yung pagiging federal nila. So, this actually proves that okay, hindi natin kailangang maging federalismo sa Pilipinas. Ang kailangan lang nating ayusin ay yung pagbuwag ng patronage political system para mas guminhawa ang ating administrative system. Diba? Okay. So in this regard, there is the underlying logic that makes Wilson's comparative model work at all. Kung ang administrative tool ay lubhang kapakipanginabang, no, genuinely useful, it remains useful regardless kung sino ang gumawa nito. Kahit ito ay monarchy, kahit ito ay democratic, kahit ito ay nasa colonial power, walang sinabi yan. So long as umiiral at tumatalab, gumagana ang administrative tool, kahit nasa monarchy ka, kahit ikaw ay democratic country, magwo-work at magwo-work yan. So usefulness in the view of Wilson is actually a property of the tool itself. It is very independent of its political origin. So, gusto ko lang naman na maging malinaw, okay? Can administrative tools ever truly be politically neutral? Sa kabila ng aking mga sinabi kanina na mga example, at base na rin sa inyong mga naintindihan sa discussion ko, sa tingin ba ninyo, can administrative tools ever truly be political neutral? Madaming perspective dyan. Okay? Paano? Administrative tools can never be truly politically neutral because design choices embed values, human discretion, and of course, yung ating mga judgment. So, kung titignan natin, you consider this one. Okay. Doon tayo sa part ng national ID system. Sana lahat kayo may ID na ha, kasi you are already 18 years old and above. Okay? So, dito, kahit na technical at dapat neutral yung pag-a-ID, meron pa ding naisasabit na politika because of its value-laden nature. Okay? And then we move forward. Can the Philippines borrow a governance model from another country without importing its political assumptions? Sa tingin ninyo, can we? For example, yung participatory budget models, I think one of the things I can commend right now is LGU Pasig, headed by Mayor Vico Soto, and LGU Naga, no? Naga City, which was recently became an HUC by proclamation of the Malacanang, pero magpe-plebiscite pa sila. Okay? Bakit? Kasi nagkaroon sila ng framework for participatory budgeting model. Okay? Of course, meron din silang performance-based budgeting frameworks. Smart cities like Makati City, digital ID systems, no? Pwede ba nating gawin ito sa Pilipinas nang hindi natin ina-adapt ang pagiging communist system, nang hindi tayo nagiging monarchical system? Oh, hindi ko 'to sasagutin dito kasi gusto ko i-analyze ninyo because this might also appear in your quizzes. Okay? So, to sum it up, okay, si Wilson po ang nagbigay ng paunang demarcation or distinction between the two. So siya yung pioneering person to have provided us the demarcation between the difference between administrative and politics. Si Goodnow naman ang mas nagpalawig ng mga functions na ito. Okay? So just to go back here, in this context, Frank Goodnow in 1990, okay, he provided us comparative law and systematic framework, and of course, itong librong Politics and Administration. According to Woodrow Wilson, state will is yung politics at yung state action is administration. So the execution of any of the decisions provided by the politics is called administration. Okay. So, in this context, my dear friends, si Goodnow po, he published his foundational contribution in 1900s. And I want you to notice immediately how different is his professional background from Woodrow Wilson. Okay? Yan. Okay? So, nag-publish siya ng libro niyang Politics and Administration. Dito sa part na ito, si Goodnow po ay mas malinaw po niyang inarticulate yung difference ng politics and administration. Okay? So, collective entity po ang politics, samantalang yung si administration is the execution of the intention of the political side. So, we have to notice how much more legally rigorous po yung language na ginamit ni Wilson. Okay? Will and action. Okay? Dito sa atin. Right? So, here, politics expresses the will of the state. Meanwhile, administration executes that will. So it is restated in a more plain text. At first, this sounds almost identical sa kung anong sinabi ni Wilson. Pero magkakaroon ito ng pagkakaiba because of the language shift, no? Reform-minded tone kasi yung isa, samantalang yung isa naman ay formal legal categorization. So, nagkaroon na po ng shift sa vocabulary, no? Yung kay Goodnow na po is a genuine original contribution at hindi lamang po siya hango doon sa nauna. Okay? So, you have to take note that Goodnow's most important and most practically useful contribution is the place where he genuinely surpasses Wilson's analytical precision. Yung politics administration distinction kasi class, okay, according to Goodnow, is functional and it's not institutional. It's not about the municipal hall, but rather yung function na nilalaroan nila. So a functional distinction means something quite different. It means sorting individual acts based on the nature of what they are doing and what is being done as well. Okay? So let's take the case of this mayor. Okay? So, si mayor ay may dalawang functions. Okay? Function niya ay sa political act at even administrative act. Paano nagfa-function si mayor in the politics side? Mayor can veto a budget item sa kanilang general appropriation. In the same manner, the mayor also signs a permit under an existing ordinance. Yung pag-sign ng permit ni mayor, hindi yan political but rather administrative function. Okay? So dito, makikita natin na mas malinaw na nating naiintindihan yung pinagkaiba ng politics and administration kahit na nasa iisang tao lang yan. Pwede pong mag-perform si mayor ng political act, pwede rin po siyang mag-perform ng administrative act. Okay? Ano-ano pa po yung mga examples of of the mayor's administrative act? Sige nga. If you are on this part of the video, can you please type it in sa ating chat box? Okay? What are the administrative administrative acts of a mayor in the Philippines? Sige nga. Aside sa pagpirma niya ng mga permits, permit to business permits, ganun-ganon. Okay. Ano pa? Pwede rin po yung kanyang appointing power. For example, nag-appoint siya ng municipal agriculturist. Okay? Pwede din po yung kanyang personal administration functions. Pwede siyang magsuspindi ng isang empleyado na humaharap sa isang administrative proceedings because he is actually the disciplining officer. Okay? Madami. Madami siyang mga administrative functions. Hindi lang sa political side. Okay? Sige dagdagan pa natin yung mga political acts ni mayor para naman na, malinawan kayo. So number one, he can formulate policy directions. So puwede siyang makipag-ugnayan sa sanggunian para sa ELA or Executive Legislative Agenda, okay? Political din po yung kanyang pag-deliver ng SOMA or ng SOCA. Okay? Madami pa, veto power is a political power. Okay? Yon. So, I hope malinaw na sa ngayon. Okay? So, next tayo. Ayan. Okay. Um, ayan. So, okay, mag-exercise muna tayo saglit para maging malinaw sa inyo. Okay? So, may apat akong scenario dito and I want you to classify each one using the functional lens, not by looking at who performed the act, okay? But by asking what kind of reasoning the act requires, okay? So first, Sangguniang Bayan passes a curfew ordinance. Political ba siya or administrative? That is political because it involves weighing competing values about safety, freedom of movement or mobility, and even community priorities. Pangalawa, municipal police enforce the curfew. Is that administrative or political? Tama, it's administrative because the value judgment was already settled by the ordinance. The police are just executing, they are not deciding. Dito, mas madaling ma-distinguish kasi kung minor ka, walang exemption. Okay? Third, the mayor suspends the enforcement pagkatapos ng public protest. Ano yan? So, malinaw naman kanina, 'di ba? Nagkaroon ng curfew because of the ordinance, political. In-execute ng mga pulis, administrative. Paano naman ngayon kung si mayor ay sinuspende yung enforcement kasi nga nagwelga yung mga tao? Suspending enforcement in response to political pressure reopens a value question. So therefore, it becomes political. Pero the mayor is acting on it in his capacity as an elected person. Therefore, the suspension is arguably an administrative function. So dito, parehong administrative at parehong political. Okay? And the last one, Social Welfare Office revises implementation guidelines. Dito, malinaw na administrative siya. Okay? Because refining the how, no, paano ba i-implement is actually a technical function. Okay? So, mag-compare lang tayo saglit. Wilson versus Goodnow. Kay Wilson, separate fields. Kay Goodnow, separate functions. Similar idea, different precision. So for Wilson, in 1887, he is practically a reformist. In 1900s, Goodnow is a legalistic person. Okay? For him, for Goodnow, state will is different from state action. For Wilson, it's more on the decision versus execution. So here, Wilson has a normative separation, while Goodnow is more on the functional distinction. Okay, so in order for you not to be overloaded with information because there's too much to grasp between Goodnow and Wilson, ititigil ko muna ito. So, natapos tayo ng 35 minutes para sa part 2. Kasi ibang perspective naman yung ihahain ko sa inyo, ihahain sa susunod na kabanata sa ating part 3. Okay? Again, let me repeat, if you have questions or clarifications or anything you would like to raise regarding the discussion of this part, feel free to message me in our group chat or even to drop your comments in the comment section of our Google Classroom. That would be all for today. Thank you so much and see you sa susunod na ating part. Bye!